Yeah,
Okay,
but
I'll
that-
call the meeting to order.
Yep, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Everybody should have a copy of the secretary's minutes.
I move that we accept the secretary minutes.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
And you should have the secretary's, the treasurer report, and hopefully it's, makes sense.
It made sense, there were just too many numbers up to the
Yeah,
decimal
I,
point.
when I went to do this report, I saw what I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
I found several mistakes and fixed them.
Well, this is May. Next month,
It's June.
it is.
It'll be your-
So that's when we encumber.
And that's when we'll, I mean, we made the motion to encumber, but I think it's always good for us to remember to encumber with a specific purpose, especially since we have some unforeseen costs.
Was that figure right on the back?
The 20,000?
25,000?
The 25,000 is supposedly correct.
Okay.
Which
And-
one's that?
Down here, the encumbered from
Yeah.
past years. I checked that out with Amy a couple of months ago. And she did take money for the things that we asked her to take money for. She did take them out.
And repairs and maintenance, have we overspent?
We have overspent on digital, speakers and programs. Yeah, but the speakers and programs is grant funded, so that's not really
Right,
overspent.
Right.
No,
So that's not really overspent. Repairs and maintenance a little bit, and automation. But we have quite a few things. Oh, and the Vox books, that's
That's
a grant.
grant.
A grant. You know, there's 3 things there that we didn't have budgeted, but that was grant money. But see, there are several things that are under budget. Is there more inspections coming, or are we done with that?
Well, we're waiting on a bill from the sprinkler inspection.
What was the
Okay,
name of their group? I saw one
Green
today,
Mountain.
Fire Watch, oh yeah,
Green
Fire
Mountain.
Watch or
Green
something.
Good
Yes,
memory,
Green-
that's
yes,
right.
Green Mountain.
Green Mountain.
And then fuel, we still have money left.
so
Yeah.
we're probably not gonna end up with as much money left at the end of the year as we have some years.
Right.
But just in case.
Right, and the number that's there for books is not right. I mean, not where we are.
Well,
If you look
because-
at my sheet, what do I have left for, I have 35% of the book budget left, which is $4,689.
And she's got 7,000.
Yeah,
Let me just make sure that I didn't make a mistake. We're talking books. No,
but see, she,
that's the number that she had written down,
right,
was
from,
7,000.
but we just did the checks. It's different,
Because this is April 30th,
right,
and you're already May 7th.
uh-huh.
So if you paid something after April 30th, your number might be different.
Do you
Is that
think
what
you
you're
have
saying?
more money than she says you have?
I
No.
have less.
You have
I
less money?
have 4,689.
Okay.
As of what date?
Well, it would have been the end of the month, the checks that came through the 30th, but she's not going through the 30th.
I see.
It's the other way around. I'm going through the 30th. Remember how she gives it to us the week before?
So she's doing like the 2
So
weeks
she's-
before?
Yeah.
She sends it online last week.
Right,
And then I like the paper copy, but she doesn't bring that in until Monday night.
right. And the paper copy's not different though than what she sends you.
I haven't checked every month.
I don't
but
think it
I
is.
think it's the same.
But
When I've
see,
checked, it was the
we
same.
take the checks and go right through to the end of the month, the checks that have come. So, like, there's
Well,
a,
that's what you should do.
right. So that's and I do it because I want to know where
Right,
where I
right.
really am. So, right now, I have $4,689 in books, and I am overspent by $740 in digital, but I think I've told you guys before.
Which she's got $500.
Yeah, and see, not, because I had a big,
Which, she's got 560 and you've got 700 and something, so, yeah.
yeah, because there was it's $262. It was a bill to, Overdrive. It was an Overdrive bill because Overdrive is where I buy the digital stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, we're gonna go over obviously in salaries and
Well,
payroll.
what I look at those three things, if you look on my sheet, I look at books, digital, and DVDs, and I just make sure that, it all comes out in the wash between the three things, because it's all basically, media for the
So
library.
you've got that there's only $12,000 left and she's got 20,000.
Right. Yep,
That's a big difference.
yep. Yep,
Because we're gonna have to pay an extra person for a month.
Yeah. So that's where any extra money we have is going to go. And then you need money in July
Because
Right.
usually
Oh,
by
you can.
September, it's
when they don't
September.
pay you.
that's right, because we don't get paid till sometime in August, or sometime September.
Yeah, last year was
Se-
September,
It was
wasn't
in
it?
mid-September.
All right, so it could be an interesting,
It could be, but I wouldn't worry.
We only have $249 in computers and we need 2 new computers, right?
But we can talk about that when we get there. I have a plan.
Okay, good.
you have a plan.
Move we accept the treasurer's reports as written.
You need a second?
We do.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Library report?
Okay, Librarians report. We were open 22 days this month. I had 8 hours of vacation in that time. Our circulation was 713. Digital both ways. Digital Hoopla, Digital Overdrive were both lower this time, 88 and 86. Digital Hoopla is something that's a service when people take a book out, we pay for it. You know, we have so many, so we pay as we go with that. Overdrive is I buy the content or rent it, whichever happens to be going. But they both go into that digital line that we were just looking at that I'm over on. Receive for our patrons, we received 23 books for our patrons. We sent out 38 this month. We sent 8 letters for overdue notices for 29 items and 1 bill. We did well. Remember last time it was a lot? I mean, a lot that were out, but that was over the holidays and stuff.
Right.
Almost all those books came back.
Good.
I think, people aren't doing this purposely. They're just getting busy and
Kidding.
forgetful. And they, I mean, usually they come back. I mean, sometimes they don't, but most of the time they do.
So this means that 8 people had 29 items.
Right, that's right. Well, 9, counting a bill. And I would bet the bill is for a big amount of items. Because if we get to the point we're sending bills, those are the people that don't tend to bring things back. And they tend to have taken out
A lot.
quite a bit of stuff, yeah. But we've already gotten a lot of things back in this group that went up to April 1st. New acquisitions, I bought 71 books this month, well, 70, because one of them was a gift. And there's the breakdown of what they were. As you can see, almost the same amount of adult fiction as juvenile. The Golden Dome books came out this month. That's books for 4th through 6th graders. It's a list that's put out by the state of books that they recommend, and I buy them every year. So that's what that was. Weeded books, 179 adult fiction got weeded this month. We're into the biographies now. So I'm weeding out some of them. Some of them are going, that look to be weeded are going back on the shelf because you use a different criteria for biographies than you would use for
Adult fiction.
fiction, yeah. Yep. Adult residents, we had 2 adult residents sign up for cards. We had 6 out-of-towners and
Nice.
1 juvenile resident. The 6 out-of-towners, we have people coming from away because we have Hoopla. And they really like that service. And some of the libraries don't have it. And so I had someone from Brandon sign up
Oh, wow.
just for Hoopla the other day.
It's a good service.
It is a good service. It is a good service.
Why my son renewed his.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got it for him, but yeah. 'cause
Yeah.
it's
And
Hoopla.
and right now we have each family or each library card can take out 5 things a month. If it gets too expensive for us, I can change that to 4 or 3. That's how I can regulate how much
Okay.
people are spending on it. Well, the new
Is that
person will be doing that.
5 hooplas or 5?
It's 5 hooplas a month is what each library card in this library can
And
get.
there's a lot of times Hoopla will say, this is a free one.
Right, they
You
do
know, they're not
bonus
char-
buys, they're called.
Bonus buys,
Yep.
so it doesn't cost
It
us
doesn't cost
anything.
anything, and you can,
And this is what people are using on their Kindle.
right,
It's
Online.
You can either read it or listen to it.
and
Because you
it's,
also have that other one, Overdrive.
right, which is, the trouble, it's not a trouble with Overdrive, but with that one, it's only one user at a time, where Hoopla just released, The Women by Kristen Hanna, and it's multiple users. Anybody that wants to read it can get on there, and there's no wait.
There is an Overdrive.
In
Yes.
Overdrive,
Some are
there's
long ways.
long,
Yeah.
6 months it
Yeah.
can
Yes,
be.
yes.
Except I try to buy things that people here would borrow, but it's very expensive. Very, very expensive
Overdrive.
when you're buying the
So you're
content.
liking the Hoopla better.
Well, I like Hoopla, that could get very expensive too, but,
All depending on how many people are
how many
using it.
people are signed up and using it, right, exactly. And we've got some people that are definitely using their max on it a month.
I've done it a couple times.
Well, and they probably would like to have more, but I mean, we gotta make it so that we can afford it.
Right.
And we can still afford it, so it's good the way it is.
Do you think we should adjust, next year, do some adjusting on the budget based
Yeah.
on some of these numbers?
Well, I think for the budget is already set for this coming year.
Right.
I think it would be easier to do it the way we're doing it, especially since you have a new person.
Oh, no, I'm just thinking next
The next time you budget,
November.
then that would
we
be a
might
good
need
time to.
Because the digital needs more money.
It does, yeah. Because things cost a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
but as Paul and I had a conversation this past week, Overdrive, to buy an audiobook from them, outright buy it, it's like $100. I mean, the publishers and the libraries are really not the best of friends, because it costs $100 to buy like an audiobook. If you want to buy a ebook, the ones that are print to listen to, it's probably $60 approximately. But then they do these deals where we'll give it to you for 26 checkouts for $27.50, which of course is a lot cheaper. But after the 26 checkouts, you don't own it anymore.
Right.
You're renting it. And this is through the publishers. So it's tricky. Like I personally don't buy a lot of the James Pattersons because they're just so expensive.
Yeah.
We can't.
And we have plenty of them
So,
in here in the
and-
library.
And when you buy them that way, for Hoopla, now, are we just talking strictly
We're
overdrive?
talking Overdrive.
Okay.
Hoopla, you don't do any buying. They do all the buying, and then they're charging you a per person fee for how often it gets used. They're two different kinds of services, and it's hard for people to understand. And the Overdrive one, if I'm buying The Women by Kristen Hanna on Overdrive, one person can use it at a time. So you could have a list of 8-10 people that want to, and you have to go. So I try to look at the books that are going to be really popular, because it's going to cut their wait time down on Overdrive if I have bought it or rented it.
And
You
it
know,
is on Hoopla.
Now it is. It
Well,
wasn't.
because that's how I did it for a book club reading.
Yeah, but
Because I
that
couldn't
book's
hold the book,
been
it was
out.
too heavy.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's on Hoopla, but it wasn't on Hoopla back when I got it for Overdrive.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we?
Confusing for me.
We were.
We're on Petty Cash.
Yes.
And Petty Cash is good, as you can see. The non-resident fees there brought us up some on that.
And I noticed that you bought some postage,
Yes.
because that hadn't changed all year, and then,
Oh, no, but see, and I'm tricky about that too. Sometimes I'll tell, sometimes I'll say that a book is not available because we just can't afford to send it, because we've got libraries that are not on, and I try to send as much as I can, but I can't let our postage get up to, too high, because we pay for courier. So I can only do so many couriers a month before, and it needs to get spread around between all the
And
libraries.
the grant's going away for courier?
Not sure yet. That's not a given.
and that's why courier is not on this budget.
Courier is ILL,
Yep.
Oh,
Interlibrary
I
loans.
knew that.
interlibrary loan. We had 151 volunteer hours in April. That was a lot.
Yeah.
But we also had an extra week in April, because like if you look, like our priority, which is our ILL courier, we had to pay them for 5 weeks. They made 5 pickups this month.
I have a question.
Sure.
Just because we are gonna be going into looking at our bylaws and all that good stuff, and it has in there that, juvenile non-residents, are charged, what now?
$10.
$10 still?
Juvenile non-residents, $10. Everybody's $10.
Right.
Anybody that gets a library
Anybody
card out of
non-resident.
town that doesn't pay taxes to the town of Fairhaven is
It's still a bargain.
$10, except we were letting West Haven juveniles from West
Because they
Haven.
go to school
But
here.
back in the day, when we came up with that idea, they all went to Fairhaven grade school. That's not the case anymore. So I think that probably should be adjusted again. Because they don't all, a lot of them go Benson.
Benson.
Mhm. Yep. I mean, they can go anywhere they want, I think.
Yes.
You can go to Castleton if you want.
Yep, they do, that, they
Well,
could.
technically, a Fairhaven resident can go
Right.
anywhere.
Right. Okay, Genealogy Club met April 4th, 8 people attended. The lift inspection, we got inspections galore here, but the state lift inspection was done April 4th. Now, see, we had our people that check our lift came in March, or we're supposed to come in February. They ended up coming the last of February because the lift inspection from the state was supposed to be in March, and they ended up being a couple days late. So, we got our certificate, we're all set, we have no violations with our lift, which is good. Friends had a book sale on the 9th of April, they made $98 on a Wednesday night. I remember we talked about the sparking plugs and stuff last month.
Yes.
I called Dan Gray on the 15th to look at the floor plugs, that entry light that's not working, and the 2 outside lights. He came April 22nd. He said he knows why it was sparking, because those floor plugs are so loose that probably when she moved with the plug, it hit against metal, and he said that would really cause it to, yeah, you'd notice it, he said. So he's going to replace those plugs in the front room, and he's gonna try to find covers to go over them so that like water and stuff can't get down there. And because this was a very fortunate thing that this happened to somebody in the library, that it was just Danny and the vacuum cleaner. Because if it's somebody with their computer that plugs into our, and it does that, that wouldn't be good.
No.
Because it could burn their computer out. So anyway, he's gonna fix that. He went and looked at the outside lights and he came back and I said, I don't think they're too good. He goes, Carol, they're gone. So we're getting 2 new outside lights because the reason one's not coming on and they're gone. But they're almost 30 years old. I mean, they came with the addition. Yeah, so he's gonna replace those. He has a key. He'll come in and do this stuff. He doesn't wanna put a ladder up in the entryway when people are walking under it. So and he does that. He comes in when the library's closed and does it. The sprinkler inspection was done the 23rd, Wednesday. Ron came in and met with the people. Thank you. They were supposed to come on Tuesday, but there was a conflict.
Yep.
So he met with them on Wednesday. Go.
And they inspected everything, said everything was working well. There are 3 check valves up front. One is not working properly, but state law says you have to have 2. He was gonna let his boss know about it and see what would need to be done, if anything. And I would imagine that we would get a proposal if things needed to be worked on. He did get in contact with me asking for an address or an email so he could send the bill. That was Friday, and Carol says,
I haven't seen it yet.
so. And I'm assuming it's gonna be somewhere around 500.
Oh, that's what they told us, it would be around 500.
Yeah.
But it was nice to know there were no major problems.
No problems whatsoever.
And Ron says he thinks these guys have some,
They have knowledge
Right.
of what they're doing, especially the guy who did all the testing. You know, the other guy did mainly visual inspection. And he did check in there
Yeah.
to make sure that was working properly.
That's good news.
yep. The take and make for April was a duck with an umbrella. It was very popular. They all got distributed, 60 of them. We received a $250 donation from General Electric. I just love opening the mail and just getting a surprise like that. Seal sent a thank you note to them. We're very grateful that they were thinking of the library. It's what was the,
It's the employees.
Yeah,
Their generous their fund.
that they can
Giving-
do to
giving-
different places.
right, Different
and-
nonprofits.
Right,
Especially focused on children. So, you know, we can buy children's books or children's programs,
some
but anything
children
focused on
programming or-
children.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I got the $365 back from First Light.
Yay!
Finally, we got the check, so it went in. It was, we ended our, we started with our new, service in June last year. It took, and I gave them plenty of time after that, you know, I said we were done for them to send us a check, and then I started calling, and it's at least 5 phone calls before
Where will that money show up?
that, well, on my sheet, it shows up
Fiber Connect, hopefully.
under Fiber Connect, because that's where it came out of. Fiber Connect is our, and we always, remember, have to budget that money every year, but in the next budget, it won't be there anymore because we have a tech grant
Right.
that we're using. But so
And we
I had her, I said, this should go back into Fiber Connect, because that's where it came out of, it was E-rate money.
Right.
I was very happy to see, but you know, you've really gotta be, you have to keep after stuff, or I don't think we would've gotten it if I hadn't kept after it.
No, and they weren't even going to send it.
No, I really had to.
You had to actually call and say, you owe us money.
Yeah, more than once, yeah. I had to tell them they owed us money. We did receive I'm not sure about the courier grant yet, but we did receive notification that we're getting our summer grant. I have not gotten the check yet, but it's $350 is the summer grant. So Mary Kay scheduled a VINS program for Monday, July 28th at 6 p.m. She wanted to do it on Tuesday morning because that's when she's here, but the Tuesdays were all taken already. So she just, and this might be a good thing to try, like at 6 o'clock.
At nighttime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
'cause
a new
parents can
time,
come.
and maybe some families could
Yeah.
come then, so, the grant's gonna cover the cost of the program, which is $325. The Friends will pay the mileage, which is $142.50. I mean, mileage is a lot of money so,
Do you know what the hourly rate is?
you mean the mileage rate? $1.25 a mile. Uh-huh. So, the Friends will pay that. So how this works in my world, I don't know what it'll be in the new world, but, I have, Kathy wrote a check tonight for the whole amount. And then when the, $350 comes from the, grant, Amy will write a check to the Friends for that $350.
Reimburse them.
Yeah, to reimburse them. I contacted Matt, our IT consultant, because we really do, I just do not want to stick a new person with that desktop computer. It is 13 years old. We've been using it that long, and it's really gotten wonky about stuff. So I want to replace that old workstation. I also I asked him for recommendations for a laptop, because I really would like to get a laptop for the new librarian and load everything on it, like the Excel spreadsheets, everything. They certainly don't have to use the format I've used all these years for librarians report, but at least it's something to start with. And so I think it would make for a smoother transition, because there are a lot of details.
And
So-
this one's pretty old.
Old. That one's old. So he gave me recommendations, and, but I need a motion if you guys would go for it. My thought for paying for it is, that $3,000 that's there for Fiber Connect. I figured we could use the rest of the, where's my pages here? My year-to-date pages. My year-to-date pages, okay, so it's computer, automate, and, where am I? I thought we had money left in Fiber Connect.
I think we do.
I think
Well,
we do too.
Because down here it says 3,000 and we've used 1,073.
Okay. Oh, yeah, here, I'm on the wrong page.
All right, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
move.
okay.
I'm gonna move, we use the Fiber Connect monies to purchase a new desktop and laptop computer for the library.
I'll second that.
I just think it's a good use of those funds.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's gonna make my life a little easier, I think. Oh, also, we have 3 buckets out front. So we want to thank the volunteers that planted those buckets. Hopefully, we're gonna get some sunshine so the buckets grow.
Although it was funny because I walked down the street and certain ones, they're really popping up.
Are they? Well,
Yeah.
they like water.
Yeah,
Water's good, but we could use some sun.
yeah.
Well, we've got enough water.
Yeah, we've had enough water. Okay, so we're on to policies and bylaws. Or do you want to talk quickly about where the grant thing sits? Seal.
About the what?
Grants?
No, I don't want to talk about that. No, there are 2 different grants. The first one I've already applied for, and that was through Becca Balance office, which the money will actually come from the USDA. That was a challenge because, as most of you know, things have been changing with the USDA, and in Burlington, 4 employees took the buyout. So at all these USDA offices, when you have to call for information, no one really knows the answer because that person's no longer there. So it was a challenge, but we got it done. I'm working on the second one, which is through the national parks. It's his National Historic Registry, so you have to, I passed it. The first leg is, are you, to see if you're eligible. We are eligible. We are on the National Historic Register, we are a 501c, and we're in the municipal library, all that good stuff. So now it's getting an easement signed, which is a requirement for the grant. We also need to have a quote that's, so much for this part, so much for this part, this is how much.
A
breakdown.
detailed,
Yeah, I don't-
detailed.
Yeah, more detailed, we don't have that yet. So I went online this week to find 2 other masons, and I was gonna talk with you, Ron, since you worked with Mr. Tedesco, if we can get them down here, because it's way over $10,000, which means we need 3 bids, and an itemized bill would be
Which we
much
haven't
nicer,
gotten from Tedesco.
which we have not gotten. And while we're on that subject, Chris and I got together and said, we need to get rid of this money. We've had it since, we've had it 6 months,
Yeah.
that grant money. And because he never sent us a bill. So, because that money,
Was earmarked for,
Earmarked for
specifically
them.
for
Remember
him.
that. Yeah.
we sent that part of the bill plus the money that we said we would pay as well.
So, and when I sent the check, I sent a letter explaining why we were sending the money, and in lieu of a bill, and asking him to respond and say that he received the money, and I've heard nothing.
Long ago.
Weeks.
It was the beginning, it was,
It was in the beginning of April, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Wait,
I mean, can
So,
Amy tell,
and
Amy
has
can
the
probably
check
tell us.
been cashed?
We'd have to ask Amy.
yeah,
Well, I might have an email to Amy because, oh, I know, it was April 14th, because Amy couldn't cut the check because
But
she
she
was
was-
busy
It's
doing
tax day.
taxes. And, because it was the day before April 15th.
So it's nearly a
So
month.
that's when I wrote the check.
boy, these places. I don't know.
I think they just don't have employees enough.
Right, to keep up with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I do have the other names, and then once we get that piece, those pieces, we can move forward. And it's June 2nd. So that's pretty quick. I'm not sure how
To
long it's
get
gonna
the
take.
application in for the grant.
and you have to send the detailed with the application?
And with a spreadsheet of how much everything is gonna cost, and
We don't have that.
we don't have it. So I would prefer to get the USDA, which I wrote for $100,000. I would prefer to get that grant because, we don't have to, I
Right,
mean, that's completed, it's
Right.
done, and you can get the money and get it over with. The one from this other grant, you have an extra year to get it done. It's a multi-step process. It's a federal grant that's got a lot of hoops. And federal grants, you hurry up and get it done, but they don't always meet their deadlines. So, anyway, I'm working as fast as I can, but there are certain obstacles that keep popping up when I come
and you
to
can
do
only
that.
do the best you can do.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
that's,
know, and I was only gonna ask for 50,000 because Chris and I said, I really don't like signing an easement.
right,
And the reason you have to sign an easement is because this grant can go to people who, they own a historic home. And they use this money to,
To
fix it up. and-
refix, and then they sell it.
Yeah,
to flip the
Yeah.
house.
And that's why there's an easement. You can't, and I said, we will not be flipping the library.
And Joe said that people do this all the time. Because my first reaction is, no easement.
But we're getting schooled in the ways of, I've written lots and lots of grants on
And
a
never had
topic
anything.
I know. This is not a topic I know. I am not a Mason, I don't pretend to be. And so it's a little harder.
so that's
we're
where we
working.
stand. That's good.
Yep.
Okay, now bylaws and policies. What do you want to start with first?
I think bylaws will be
Yeah,
simple.
Yeah, let's
I
do
thought the
bylaws.
bylaws were pretty simple.
Okay,
Under membership and terms,
yeah,
we have to change 3, let's see, there must be 2 3-year positions and 1 1-year and 1 2-year. Is that what we
yeah, that's what
decided
we
the other
switched.
night?
Yep, so the 5 goes to a 2. 1 2-year, 2, 3 3-year, 1,
3 3-years?
is it
Yeah.
3? Yeah,
Because I'm on a 3-year position, who else is?
I am.
yep,
And
3 of
so
you.
there's 3 3s. I know he's on the one, and Judy must have had to take a 2-year position.
And there's no 5-year position.
No more. And we also got
I
away,
really don't know. I don't remember what I did, a 2 or 3 year. I really don't remember.
and then the last one, we
That
don't
last
have
line.
uninterrupted service anymore.
Yeah, and that got changed a long time ago.
And it
So
used to
we
be
can just
12
cross
years.
that one
Yeah,
out?
Yep,
It used to be 12 years.
And then under meetings, we have to change our meeting
to 6 o'clock.
Correct.
Right.
to 6 o'clock. And the first Wednesday of the month, we're still there.
Yep. 6 o'clock.
Do we
Do we
need
ha-
to add the Zoom link in there and the
Well,
fact that we're doing,
Certainly, we will abide by the state of Vermont's open meeting law. But, I'm not sure it has to be in a policy, but it definitely has to, or in the bylaws, but it's definitely a policy we need because
Okay.
we have to meet the law.
Now,
So we can do that. We will.
how are these changes going to be made?
We have to,
Either
move to change them, and then somebody's gonna retype them and we'll vote on them.
Okay, so I move that in the bylaws, under memberships and terms, it states three-year positions, one one-year position, and one two-year position.
We'll delete the last section.
And we'll delete the section that says a trustee's total length of uninterrupted service is limited to 10 years.
The last line of Article 2.
See, I know there's another copy of this somewhere that
I do too, because we've changed
we
it.
changed this stuff.
Okay, so I move that, do we,
Well, let's,
Also, you add in the meetings to 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
under section 5, meetings, that we meet at 6 o'clock.
Meet at 6 PM, and I'll put, we will, I don't want to put Zoom, but we will
Abide by the open meeting
Abide.
law.
by current open meeting law.
Is there anything else that anybody saw?
Section 10, what does, I'm not sure what that means. Board members meeting the minimums.
Oh, it's the standards for the state of Vermont, for, the libraries have state guidelines. And so, it's so that we meet those and we do, that's state reports that I do.
Oh, so it's not the education?
No,
Okay. All right.
I'll second that.
well, education, you mean getting a, certificate in library sign, and that's a guideline for them, but I don't think that's.
You don't think
I-
that's required?
I'm just curious about what are the minimums for the board members?
Oh, there's nothing, well,
Have a heartbeat?
no, like attending meetings
Okay.
and that kind of stuff. There's the state has a thing of guidelines and, but it's what goes into the state reports that are the, and it doesn't say you have to do it. Notice the word encouraged is there.
Okay. I could retype this.
Okay.
Okay.
So I moved and still seconded, you do,
No,
Are there
I-
any
I
other
moved-
changes?
Yeah, I moved in.
still seconded.
Any other discussions? All those in favor? Aye.
And I will
Those
type the
opposed?
bylaws up.
Oh, good.
Well,
Okay.
and then we'll send a digital copy and make sure we put it on all the, that might be one of our projects is to get all these policies, bylaws and everything.
On the,
A paper, a notebook with, policy book and then also online.
So where do I send the digital copy to? To you?
Yeah, to me and to Carol, or send it to me and I'll send it to everybody. It's good to have more than one copy,
I mean, I could send it out to everybody when I'm done.
yeah. That works. Chris will type,
And then it'll be on my computer too,
yeah.
for what that's worth. All right, so that's the bylaws. Now we go to the policies.
Change the fee,
yep, the fees, the fines.
$10.
Are $10, and, I think the 16 should be, that goes down to like
For
4,
HCs.
yeah.
To 14?
Well, actually, state of Vermont now, 12 and older are their own,
So age 12?
Through age 12,
yep,
and everybody's a $10 fee.
yep.
You need a motion?
You can't do them all at once.
I think we can do it all at once.
Okay. All right, under hours, we have to add something. I forget, Seal told me.
We have to add Columbus Day.
It's not, but it's Indigenous People Day.
Not now
going
it
back.
isn't.
It's going, oh.
Trump is changing
I
it back.
forgot.
Sorry.
That's
What about
right.
It's going back to Columbus Day and Juneteenth.
And Juneteenth.
But, I mean, there's nothing that says Columbus/Indigenous Day, Indigenous People Day.
Okay, well, so we're adding Columbus Day.
It's always on a Monday.
I would
so,
do,
yeah.
I would do Columbus/Indigenous,
Yeah.
because this is gonna shift.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
way
we'll
we're
be
covered.
closed that day?
Yeah, we usually
And
are.
what about Martin Luther King?
Oh, is
And
that not on there?
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Wait a minute, do we have?
Okay.
I don't see
Wait.
MLK.
No, MLK is not there.
Oh, it should be. We're closed on that one too.
Good for you.
Well, everything's always on Mondays and we're open Mondays, so.
Right,
Then the Juneteenth.
which this year is of Thursday, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because this year it was Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, and we're also usually closed the day after Christmas.
Yeah, oh,
We're closed the day before Christmas and the day after Christmas.
So
we should add that.
24th
24th
and 26th.
Yep,
Okay, so now under governance, it says it's posted in the library, the town Fairhaven offices, and published on the town website. Are we published anywhere else?
well, on the
We're not-
library
we're
website,
We're on the library website.
yeah. I don't think, do they put it on the town?
No, they do not.
They don't put it on the town
We got kicked
website.
out.
We got kicked out.
and do we,
On the-
do,
And you
library.
have to erase the local Shaw's
Shaw's,
grocery
yeah.
store.
Yeah,
Yeah, so here's where I put it. I put it at the post office and I put it at the community bank. And it's, because it's also at the town office. I posted in 3 different places.
Okay, so library, town of Fairhaven offices, and then this is, we've got to add that. Okay, on page 2, under use of facilities, my question was, does it have to be nonprofit?
oh, does it say nonprofit?
It does. So we can just
Yes.
click by community,
Organizations.
because like she said, our club is not
I
a nonprofit.
Oh, they are? Oh, didn't know that.
so cross
Women's
that.
club is is a 501. But
Okay.
our club, we don't have any, we don't make money.
I think the reason that initially got put in there was to avoid like having sales meetings and things like that here.
Right.
But
But see, it says community organizations,
Right,
so,
so it should be all right, but I think that's why that other word was in there.
all right, so anything else on that page?
no, the only thing we have to do is,
Okay, oh, you gotta change the dates again. The ages.
Oh, under age
Now then,
12.
Age
Where,
12.
where are
Well,
you?
it's
and under.
right here, confidentiality.
And confidentiality, second page.
Oh, what is it?
It's 12.
12 instead of
12.
16.
Yep.
With all that's going on right now, should we put anything about anti-Semitism in here under non-discrimination?
What do you want to add?
Well, with all that's going on now with the
Anti-Semitism.
anti-Semitism,
We don't have religion there?
We do not have religion.
I mean, usually it's race, creed. Yeah, maybe, I think we should
We've
have,
got nationality and ethnicity.
yeah, so maybe creed, because isn't that religion?
I don't
I
know.
believe so.
Yes.
We could use the word religion.
Yep.
Which do you want?
Usually in
religion
most
would cover it
documents.
all.
You're right, religion would cover it all.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so, and transgender would be covered under gender,
Yep.
okay? on the next page, under weeding, withdrawal, and disposal,
Yep,
this is just a question.
sure.
The word inappropriate, with all of the people that are banning books,
Yeah.
should we remove that word?
I think their thought was, I think their thought was like if they're damaged or, because does it say damaged somewhere?
But you've got eliminating out, well, we could say damaged.
Outdated, inappropriate materials.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with Chris. Let's get inappropriate out of there.
Do you want the word damaged in there?
Damaged or unusable.
right.
I mean, you know, if it's covered in mold, we're getting rid of it.
Right.
Right.
So you're getting rid of inappropriate also?
Yep. And just putting outdated, damaged, or unusable materials.
What about, really hardcore porn though?
We don't
We
censor.
don't, we don't have that.
Thank God.
I know we don't. I hope we don't, but
She's got a special stash for herself.
We don't have any of that, but no one's asked them for it either.
That's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
That will
But
leave
see,
alone
that's-
until it comes.
When you say inappropriate, that's what comes to my mind. But what I was worried about was, there's just so much going on with people thinking things are inappropriate
That
that,
aren't,
that we might not agree with.
right.
Right.
Well, because everybody is in a different, there's,
Well,
Everybody's
I
in a
just
different
remember
place.
when the person brought in the Trump book for you to display next to the Fauci book,
which I did,
and, which you did.
that's right,
Yeah.
which is the right thing to do.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
We're a public
I
library.
need to have conversations with the new librarian.
Well, that actually,
But it did, it.
that kind of thing, some of our discussions at the interviews, some of that has come up.
Come up, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
I like it. We do not provide childcare.
Yeah.
Well, some people think you do.
I know.
Not so much lately, but boy. We've had that
You
in
know-
the past.
The hardest part for me was the last page, because I didn't have too many other things, but, because Ron and I were talking about this today under personnel, that all personnel are employees of the town of Fairhaven and function under the personnel procedures and policies of the town. So we don't have a personnel policy. The personnel policy of the town is our personnel policy. I thought we had our own. Or was it just a copy of the town of
I
Fairhaven?
think it's a copy of the town's policy. I think.
Is it possible for us to get a copy of that so we could
Well,
look at it?
I had asked, I sent Joe an email with that first line in here and saying that, well, could you please send me this? The
Yeah, I'd like-
procedures and policies.
I'd like to see what we're agreeing
So I
to.
don't know if he's looking for it, because he did not respond to the email.
The other thing is that I've been on the board for a while, and I don't remember us ever evaluating the director's performance.
That has not happened, that has not happened.
I can remember doing it once.
Do you? Yeah.
And
How many
Did
years ago?
I do
Quite a
good?
few. Oh, yes.
I think it might be a good thing to have
Yeah.
Yes.
with a new librarian.
Yes.
They
Because it
might,
helps.
they might like that to
Yes.
happen.
So, I mean, and there's so many different forms out there
Right.
that would, for that.
And see, everything is through the trustees, not the town.
Right.
That's why there is a board of trustees, because they manage all the,
And Carol said that Danny does,
Danny
Did-
researched it, because we weren't sure then if we were municipal or not, but she researched it. I'll talk to her Friday.
right,
All right, send us an email.
because in the statute for libraries, they're defined, there's municipal and then there's the
Incorporated, right.
And we're.
And we're
Municipal.
municipal. But that happened someplace along the way, that, and it with some stipulations, I think. And everything, I mean, we have our own bookkeeper, we pay our own people,
We set their salary,
we set, yeah, everything is.
we pay our own workman's compensation,
Right,
we have our own, the town pays for our insurance.
right, because they're insuring the building and the contents of the building.
And that's the part that they own,
Right,
is the building.
right, they own that's right.
They own the building, but we have to keep it up.
They don't own the operations of the building.
No, that's our responsibility, we have to keep and maintain.
Right, so like when there was a tree on the back, out back that needed to come down, the town did that. Though we do, any kind of maintenance-y stuff, routine maintenance sort of things, we do all of that. And don't ask the town. And I do know that the former librarian, right before me, did have town insurance, but the library paid it. It came out of the library budget.
But the knowledge that we have is that we don't have enough hours.
Right, you don't have to.
State law.
Right. I mean, they did that for her because she needed insurance and they needed a librarian. And so the library did it, but the way the laws are set up now, right, it's not required for this.
Because we have
library.
so few
Right.
employees.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, so do we need a motion
I
for
would-
these things?
Can we put that off until we clarify that?
Yep. Let's
You
do
know,
that.
that's, and the other thing is, I know there are other policies that we have, this is not all of the policies of our library. I mean, it's
It's an
law that we have to
overview.
have a sexual, harassment policy. I mean, there are just certain policies that the law requires every organization.
It would be this thick if we had all the policies together.
It would be, but most places,
But we should have that.
but, yeah.
Should be readily available
Right.
if anybody wanted to look at it.
Right.
So, yeah, why don't we go ahead and table this until we get all the policies together? And that way we can go through all the policies one at a time, make sure it's what we want it to read.
I think this was sort of an overview of what,
All the other policies.
all the other policies say, because we have, we have a meeting room policy that's written out, we have a cell phone policy that's written out, we have an internet policy, which I think actually got included in here.
Yeah, it's almost identical to
But-
the other one.
Yeah,
But this would be helpful to the new person.
You know, just at a glance.
Yeah.
She has some idea about what the policies are, but yeah, we need to get that policy book and we'll work on that.
Okay.
We can find them, they're somewhere.
oh yeah, they're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other business? Our next meeting then will be
June 4th.
June 4th.
You want a motion to adjourn?
No. We don't have to have a motion.
Oh, we don't.
No.
Well, we have to have a move, but we have to vote on it. On June 4th, And then when's the one in July? We don't
July would
usually- we
be
don't-
the
we don't-
second.
Usually meet
Because
in
we
July.
don't usually meet in July.
No, so you wouldn't meet again until
Because
August.
that's, we always, you know, I always make myself a note, June 4th, make sure we move to encumber funds, because we don't meet in July or December.
But.
Because our laws say we have to have 8 meetings.
8 meetings, but the question is, are we gonna need a July meeting under the circumstances?
Well, I think we might need, not necessarily a July meeting for that, but with the hiring, I think we're gonna be having some
Some additional meetings.
some additional meetings, but those will not be public meetings. We'll have to warn them as executive session.
Okay.
I don't think your new person would be ready on July 2nd to come,
No, but
to come.
I'm saying the new person may need some direction from us in July.
They might.
We'll let PEG TV know whether or not we're meeting in July 2nd, but I'm going to guess,
But not, we
You're
won't
all
be
gonna
meeting on July 2nd.
vacationing on July 2nd.